Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome to Wisdom of Bhagavad Gita sessions, and we are currently on chapter 3, which is entitled Karma Yoga. Until now we have covered up to verse number 16. I am hoping that I will cover 16 more verses today in one session from 17 to 32. Let us see how it goes. So in the last session that we had, we covered verses from 10 to 16. So in these verses, we saw that Lord Shri Krishna was mentioning that if one is not qualified for Karma Yoga, then the person should at least practice Karma Kanda. And how he should practice Karma Kanda? By performing sacrifice. And what is sacrifice? Sacrifice is nothing but whatever results we are getting, offering some of those results voluntarily, willingly to the Lord or Devatas. And the Devatas are assistants of the Supreme Lord. They are empowered to handle the universal affairs. And we have to cooperate with them. So it is just like cooperation between the government and the citizens. When the government and citizens are cooperating with each other, then everything is like there is a prosperity in the society. So that is what was mentioned. But if we do not acknowledge that the Lord is giving us everything, then we will be punished. And we will be, the Lord was quite specific. He was saying that we will be called thief and will be punished by Yamaraj. And then he also mentioned about the food that we are eating. If we do not offer that food and we just try to enjoy that ourselves, so we are cooking food for our own sense enjoyment, then we are only eating sins and we are accumulating sins. But if we offer to the Lord and then we eat, then it becomes prasadam. Prasadam is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And so every morsel that we are eating, then we are getting mercy of the Supreme Lord. So if we do not offer the food, like we cook for our own enjoyment, we are eating only sins. And if we cook for the Lord and offer it to the Lord, and then we eat that, then with every morsel, we are eating only mercy of the Supreme Lord. And we also saw practically how we can offer food to the Supreme Lord. So that is what we have seen till now. So let us start with verse number 17 now. Yastyatma ratireva syad atmatruptascha manavaha atmanyeva cha santushtas tasya karyam na vidyate. Who wants to read the translation? 3.17. Yeah, Mahendra Prabhuji and Vikas Prabhuji, you can do the next one.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully saturated, for him there is no duty. Hare Krishna.
And we are going to, we will read the next one as well, and then we will do some explanation. Naiva tasya krutenartho na kruteneha kaschana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kaschit artha vyapashrayah.
A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So till now, from 10 to 16, verses 10 to 16, Lord Shri Krishna was mentioning that if you are not qualified to do Karma Yoga, then you can do Karma Kanda. But from this verse onwards, he's saying that even if you are qualified to go beyond, like you can do jnana yoga where you can give up the action, so you can go beyond karma yoga, still you should perform your duty. So such person who is beyond now, like he's already purified, he is already successful in his spiritual life. So such person has been explained in these two verses, verse number 17 and 18. So what is mentioned? That for one who takes pleasure in the self. So self means Atma. So the person who is interested in spiritual activities. So he is advanced in spiritual activities. Such a person actually have no duty. So what is mentioned here is in 17 and 80, what is the duty of self-realized person? So it is mentioned that he doesn't have any duty. Why he doesn't have any duty? Because there are two things. A person does work for fulfilling the material desires. A materialist does some work for fulfilling some material duties, material desires. So we want something, and that is why we want to earn money. So we are trying to do some work, and then when the money comes, then we are trying to enjoy the results. So that is one purpose. The other purpose is someone who is starting to understand that we are not this body, but we are the spirit soul. So he is at the beginning stage. So he is a sadhana bhakta. So at that point, we are trying to do our duty for our own purification. But a person who is already self-realized, a person who is already very advanced on the spiritual path, such a person is already purified. So the second reason is not valid for him. And they also don't have any material desires because they are quite advanced and their only desire is to serve Krishna. So for such a person, then there is no duty. There is no prescribed duty for such a person. Now, what should this person do if he is only interested in activity of Krishna consciousness and he has no material desires, he is already purified like an advanced devotee, then what should he do? Should he actually give up his prescribed duty? So it is mentioned that such a person should still do the prescribed duty. And what is the reason? If he has no material desires and he is already purified, then why should he do? So Lord Shri Krishna is mentioning that even such an advanced devotee should do his prescribed duty to set a proper example in front of everyone. So let us look at this next set of verses which explains that. So we'll read 19 to 21. So these three verses we'll read together. Tasmadasakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma param apnoti purushaha. Who wants to read the translation? Yes, Neeraj Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme.
Yeah. Karmanyaiva hi samsiddhim astitha janakadayah lokasangrahamevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. Who wants to read this one? Yes, Tripti, go ahead.
Kings such as Janaka attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. And this next verse as well we'll read. This is very, very interesting verse, the next one. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tattad devetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Who wants to read the translation for this one? Yes, Raghavendra Prabhuji, please go ahead. And Surananda Prabhuji, you can do the next one. Shanti Mataji, the next one after that.
Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues.
Yeah, thank you. The purport for this 21st verse is quite interesting. So let us read the purport as well. It is a small one, and then we will discuss these three verses together. So who was next? Surananda Prabhuji, please go ahead and read the purport.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. People in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. One who teaches in that way is called Acharya, or the ideal teacher. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra, scripture, to teach the common man. The teacher cannot manufacture rules against the principles of revealed scriptures. The revealed scriptures like Manu Samhita and similar others are considered the standard books to be followed by human society. Thus, the leader's teaching should be based on the principles of such standard sastras. One who desires to improve himself must follow the standard rules as they are practiced by the great teachers. The Srimad Bhagavatam also affirms that one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees, and that is the way of progress in the path of spiritual realization. The king or the executive head of a state, the father, and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibility to their dependents. Therefore, they must be conversant with standard books of moral and spiritual codes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So what is mentioned here in these three verses, that even if this self-realized person, he has no material desires, he is already purified, and he actually doesn't have to actually do his prescribed duty, but he should still do it. What is the reason? For setting a proper example in front of everyone. So here at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is saying that he wants to go to forest. And Lord Shri Krishna mentioned at the beginning of the third chapter, saying that if you are not completely purified, and if you go to forest, then what will happen is you will externally you have given up the activities, but internally your mind is dwelling on the material desires. And in the second chapter, Krishna has already mentioned that dhayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu pajayate. That if you keep thinking about something, then automatically the attachment will develop, and then sooner or later you will actually do that activity. But because externally you have given up the activity, you will try to do it in a hidden way. And that means you will become a pretender. You are not actually purified, but you are showing to other people that you are purified. But internally you are trying to, because you still have these material desires, you are doing these activities somehow or the other. And such person is pretender. And a pretender is not going to progress. He is not going to progress spiritually, and as well as he cheating everyone. So if Arjuna goes, Arjuna is already a qualified person. He's a pure devotee of Krishna. And he will be able to probably manage to go to forest, give up his activities, and he will still live by begging, and he can control his senses. All of that is possible. But if he does like that, then other people will not be thinking that what is the qualification that I have? Am I qualified like Arjuna to do all of these activities? They will say that, oh, Arjuna has done it, I will also do it. Because yad yad acharati shreshthas tatta deva tarojanaha. So as Lord Shri Krishna is saying, that as the great people, whatever action a great man performs, common men will follow it. So the person who is in such a position, who is who has some followers, and when we are saying followers, it doesn't have to be some great person having thousands of followers. Srila Prabhupada gives examples. Even the parents have followers. Their children are looking at them, and they are looking and seeing what is my father and mother doing, and those activities they are going to follow. So if the children see their parents are doing wrong activities, then they will also sooner or later will start doing the wrong activities. The teachers, the leaders, other leaders, the government leaders, politicians, everyone actually has responsibility because they have many followers. And whatever they perform, that is what everyone is going to do. And now, unfortunately, our current world has the ideals that people have in front of them, they are all wrong. So they are actually following some actors or actresses, or they are having some sports people who are there following. And we can see easily that as soon as some heroine in the movie does some particular hairstyle or wears some particular clothes, then everyone will actually have the same hairstyle or similar clothes. And the hero does some particular haircut, then everyone is having similar haircuts. All the men are going to have similar haircuts. So, so this is what is happening. We are actually following the wrong examples, but still we can see from this example, as the leaders are doing, similarly, the followers are also going to do. So that is why the leaders have to set the right example. So they will not look at their disqualification that, oh, such and such person, Arjuna is a very exalted personality. So he is able to go and stay in the forest and give up his activity and not be a pretender because he is already purified. But I am not at that stage, so I should not be doing. No, they will just uh, go ahead and follow them. So that is why such a person who's already purified, they should do the activity to set an example. But how should they do the activity? That was mentioned in the 19th verse. It is mentioned that such person should do the activity without attachment to fruits. And they should do it as a matter of duty under proper guidance. And they should do it for Lord Shri Krishna. And if they do that, then what is the benefit? They will attain the Supreme. And then in the 20th verse, there is an example which is given that Janak Maharaj, he was a devotee of the Supreme Lord, but at the same time, he is the king. So as a devotee of the Supreme Lord, he has already been purified. He was a pure devotee. So he has already been purified. So he is not compelled by the three modes of material nature to do some activities because he doesn't have any material desires. But still, because he is a king, and whatever he does, Janak Maharaja's subjects are also going to do the same. So they are going to follow him. So that is why, as a king, he still did his prescribed duty properly. So this is what we have to understand, that every one of us is a leader. And we have this responsibility to follow everything properly. If, as a parent or as a teacher, if we do not perform the activities properly, then it will be difficult for us to pass on those samskaras or those activities to the followers. And in this purport that we read, Srila Prabhupada mentions that such leaders need to actually know the scriptures, because otherwise, how will they know what is right and what is wrong? So they need to actually know the scriptures. So we have to all read Bhagavad Gita, by which we will understand what kind of activities we have to do. Then we will be able to set the right example. Otherwise, we may be thinking that I am setting right example in front of my children, in front of the students, but we may not be actually setting right examples because we are just doing as per our own mind, whatever our mind is thinking that we should do. That is what we are doing. That is why we should follow our scriptures. So the first thing, everyone has to read the scriptures, understand what to do, what not to do, then behave in a certain way. And then such person is teaching others by example is called an acharya. And then others will be able to follow them and progress spiritually. So that is what is mentioned here. Tripti Mataji, you had some question?
No, I read the purport and I got my answer. So
Okay, very good, excellent. Okay, so we are now going to go ahead where Lord Shri Krishna gives his own example now from verse number 22 to 24. These three verses, Lord Shri Krishna is giving his own example. Let us read. न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन वाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. Who was remaining to read from the previous?
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
O son of Pratha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I'm engaged in prescribed duties. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So let us read the 23 and 24 as well, and then we'll come back and discuss. यदि हयं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः. Yes, Pamendra Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
For
Krishna.
if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path.
उस्सिदेयुर्इमे लोका न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं संकरस्य च कर्तास्याम् उपहन्यामि मा प्रजः. Who wants to read this one? Come on, fast.
Prabhuji, may I please read?
Yes, please go ahead.
Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to put my hand up. If I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, you can raise your hands through participants. So you can go to the participants, and there at the bottom you have raise hand. Okay. Okay. So Lord Shri Krishna is giving his own example. He's saying there is no duty prescribed for me in the entire in the entire world. Why? Same reason, just like a purified person, why it is mentioned that he doesn't have any duty, that he doesn't need anything, he doesn't have any wants, and he's already purified, like the purified person. And Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is mentioned that, so Lord is mentioning this 22nd verse, there is no work prescribed to me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want. So I do not have any material desires for which I have to do any duty. Nor have I a need. Need means he's dependent on something. We actually need something. And that is why sometimes we have to do the work. But Lord Shri Krishna doesn't need anything. He's Swarat. He is independent of everything. And so he does not have any prescribed duty. Still, whenever he comes, he is engaged in prescribed duties. Why he is doing that? Because if in the 23rd verse he is explaining why he is still doing that duty, is because if he doesn't do his prescribed duty, then what will happen is all men would follow my path. Everyone will say that a Lord is not doing any prescribed duty, why I have to do? He is setting the example. As we discussed before, they will not look at the qualification. They will think that if Lord is not doing, I will also not do. So many people actually we should actually read the purport of the 24th. Let's read that. It is quite interesting. It's a little longer, but let us read that. Who wants to read? There are 2 or 3 paragraphs, so 2 or 3 devotees can read. So Parmendra Prabhuji and Raghvendra Prabhuji and Kalakali Mataji. So 3 paragraphs, 3 devotees can read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Purport. Varna Sankarsana is in unwanted population.
Varna Sankara.
One Sankara is unwanted population which disturbs the peace of the general society. In order to check this social disturbance, there are prescribed rules and regulations by which the population can automatically become peaceful and organized by spiritual progress in life. When Lord Shri Krishna descends naturally, he deals with such rules and regulation in order to maintain the prestige and necessities of such important performance. The Lord is Father of all living entities, and if the living entities are misguided, indirectly the responsibility goes to the Lord. Therefore, whenever there is general disregard for regulative principle, the Lord himself descend and correct the society. We should, however, note carefully that although we have to follow in the footstep of the Lord, we still have to remember that we cannot imitate him. Following and imitating are not on the same level. We cannot imitate the Lord by lifting over the hill, nor as Lord did in his childhood. It is impossible for any human being. We have to follow his instructions, but we may not imitate him at any time. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33.30 till 31 of frames,
Yeah, so the
Niti
next one can be read, and we can directly go to English.
Okay.
Rajendra,
Yeah. One should simply follow the instructions of the Lord and his empowered servants. Their instructions are all good for us, and any intelligent person will perform them as instructed. However, one should guard against trying to imitate their actions. One should not try to drink the ocean of poison in imitation of Lord Shiva.
We should always consider the position of the Ishvaras, or those who can actually control the movements of the sun and moon, as superior. Without such power, one cannot imitate the Ishvaras who are super powerful. Lord Shiva drank poison to the extent of swallowing an ocean. But if any common man tries to drink even a fragment of such poison, he will be killed. There are many pseudo-devotees of Lord Shiva who want to indulge in smoking ganja, marijuana, and similar intoxicating drugs, forgetting that by so imitating the acts of Lord Shiva, they are calling death very near. Similarly, there are some pseudo-devotees of Lord Krishna who prefer to imitate the Lord in his Rasa Leela, or dance of love, forgetting their inability to lift Govardhan Hill. It is best, therefore, that one not try to imitate the powerful, but simply follow their instructions, nor should one try to occupy their post without qualification. There are so many incarnations of God without the power of the Supreme Godhead.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So very, very wonderful purport by Srila Prabhupada. And he's explaining the difference between following and imitating. So before even we go there, so Lord Shri Krishna is saying that he has no prescribed duties, but still he carefully performs his prescribed duties. But if he doesn't follow the prescribed duties, then he explains, then what will happen? That Varna Sankara will happen. Now, if you remember, when Arjuna was giving different reasons for not fighting, one of the reasons that he gave was destruction of dynasty. And in the destruction of dynasty reason, he was mentioning that if I fight and if I win, that means I have killed so many people on the battlefield. So if the war goes ahead, if I fight and if the war goes ahead, then so many people will be killed. Then what will happen is the woman will be unprotected, and then unscrupulous men will take advantage, and then Varna Sankara, like the unwanted progeny, will come. And this unwanted progeny will also not be trained by various different people, because the elders have already been, they have died in the war. So because they will not be trained on their various different the samskaras, or the knowledge that actually they receive for various different rituals and the traditions of their family, they will be lost. So the family traditions will be gone. The social welfare, like all the activities, the various different projects which are happening, they will stop. And then the forefathers will also fall down, because no one is offering any pindadan to them. So many things will happen, and such person will then incur a lot of sin. So this was the reasoning, the elaborate reasoning that Arjuna gave in the first chapter. So he was saying that if I fight, then the Varna Sankara will come. That means if I do the prescribed duty of fighting, then the Varna Sankara is going to happen. But Lord Shri Krishna is explaining to him that if you do not fight, then the Varna Sankara is going to happen. So he has answered this question of Arjuna by giving this verse. And he's clearly saying that if we do not do the prescribed duty, so like Janak Maharaj is doing the prescribed duty of ruling the kingdom properly, and I am doing the prescribed duty. So Lord Shri Krishna is saying that I am doing my prescribed duty. And if I do not do the prescribed duty, then everyone is going to follow in that footsteps and they will also not do their prescribed duty. And if the prescribed duty is not done, then the Varna Sankara is going to come because everyone is going to follow that path. No one is going to do their prescribed duty. And then there is no protection for women, no the family traditions are not getting passed, and all of this destruction of dynasty that you were talking about is going to happen because of this. So he has completely turned the argument which Arjuna had given before. So did you understand that Arjuna was saying that if I do the duty, then the Varna Sankara is going to happen. And Krishna is saying that if you do not do the duty, then it is going to happen. And that is why we must do the prescribed duty. So he's trying to explain that to Arjuna. And then the other thing in the purport, which was quite important, is to understand is the difference between the following and imitating. So the example of Lord Shri Krishna and Lord Shiva has been given here. So many people say that, oh, Lord Shiva, so I am the devotee of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva can drink bhang, or he can drink ganja, like marijuana, and he can have drugs. And so similarly, I am follower, so I will also have. But are we qualified? So Srila Prabhupada is saying that if you are qualified like Lord Shiva, then you should drink poison, just like Lord Shiva has taken the halal poison and he was not affected by that. So just like Lord Shiva is not affected by poison, similarly he is not affected by drugs or any intoxicating items. So that is why it is okay for him to consume any of that. But we, without having that qualification, if we try to do it, then we will fall down. We are not qualified to do it. So similarly, the second example is given of Lord Shri Krishna himself. Some people say that, oh, Lord Shri Krishna has done rasa dance and he has danced with so many young girls. So I will also do the rasa dance with the girls. No, but what is the qualification? He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is trying to reciprocate with everyone as per their desires. And he is able to also lift Govardhan on his left hand. We just recently, 2 days ago, we celebrated Govardhan Puja. So Lord Shri Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill on his little finger of the left hand for 7 days and 7 nights. Can you even just lift a chair on your left hand of like the little finger of the left hand and keep it for 7 hours? No. So why we are actually thinking that we have to actually do similar to what Lord Shri Krishna is doing? We are not qualified. We are not the Supreme Personality of Godhead who has the immense power. And when later on, when Lord Shri Krishna married 16,108 wives he had. So he built 16,108 palaces for each one of them. Not only that, he used to be with all 16,108 wives simultaneously. It is not that one day he was going to this palace, second day he was going to this palace, and the first queen's chance was coming after 16,000 to meet Krishna, 16,000 days. No, every day he used to expand himself and go to each palace, 16,108 palaces. So are we qualified like that? So if we are not having that qualification, then we should not be following in the footsteps. We should not be doing imitation of Krishna. So what is following then? Following is simple. Following is following the instructions of these great people. And if we try to imitate their activities, then we will be in trouble because we do not have the same qualification. So without having qualification, if we try to do the same thing as the other person has done, that is imitation, which will lead to our failure. But if we actually start following the instruction of such great people, then we will progress further. And what is Lord Shri Krishna's instruction? It is Bhagavad Gita. So we have to follow the instructions given in Bhagavad Gita, and that is how we will make progress. So at this point, we will see this wonderful picture. which explains the third chapter till now in one single snapshot. So what is mentioned here, various different options are mentioned. So till now what we saw, that soul is very active. And there are two possibilities. When the soul is active, like all souls are active. So either we are conditioned or we are purified. So if we are conditioned by three modes, then what is going to happen is we are forced to do some activity. In such situation, if we try to prematurely renounce the action, then we will become a pretender. And then there will be no freedom from reaction and no perfection. Now, if say suppose you're forced to act, then you are not doing any renunciation, but you are just doing for your own enjoyment. You are doing the activities for your own enjoyment. Then such work will create karmic bondage for this person. And there will be no freedom from reaction, and hence there will be no perfection for such person. But the best way for such person who's conditioned is to actually follow the path of karma yoga. So by doing the activities in karma yoga, where you are doing activities for the Lord and offering the result to Krishna, then we will get purified. So that is the act of sacrifice. And we are doing the work as a sacrifice for the Lord. And if we keep doing such activities in such a way, then we will become free from reaction. But what if we are already purified? So soul is active, but we are already purified and qualified to give up the activities. What should we do then? We should still do the prescribed duty. Why? For setting an example for others. And Lord Shri Krishna has given Janaka's example, King Janaka's, and his own example to explain this to all of us. So what can we learn? We have to set a right example for others to follow. So we should not be very loose in performing our action. Each one of us has this responsibility, because each one of us has some influence on others. So we have some friends who are looking up to us. We have children who are looking up to us. There are other family members maybe actually thinking that, oh, you are actually some spiritual person, and you have started reading Bhagavad Gita. And they may be looking at you thinking that, oh, this is a spiritual person, even if you have just started the process. And they may be equating you to a spiritualist. And looking at your action, they will say that, hey, is this how a spiritualist is supposed to behave? So if this is the action of a spiritualist, I am better as a materialist. So let me do my own material activities, because anyway, after doing all these things, you are reading Bhagavad Gita, you are chanting Hare Krishna, but you are still behaving like this. So you are not setting a good example for me. So I will just continue what I'm doing. So we have big responsibility. And that is why we have to set right example for others to follow. Okay. So let us go ahead to now 3.25. सक्ता कर्मण्य अविद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस तथा सक्तश्चिकीर्षुर्लोक संग्रहम्. Who wants to read? Okay, Pamenda Prabhuji again.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. As the ignorant perform their duty with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path.
Yeah, so here a difference between ignorant and learned has been given. So as the ignorant performs their duties with attachment to result. So what is happening? The ignorant is performing the activities with attachment. And the learned may similarly do activities. So it may look out from external perspective that these two people, an ignorant person and a learned person, from externally it may look like that they are doing the similar kind of activities. But actually internally they may be different. The ignorant is attached. Ignorant is doing the activity with attachment, whereas the learned person may be doing this activity with detachment. And Srila Prabhupada's purport I'll just read the first line. A person in Krishna consciousness and a person not in Krishna consciousness are differentiated by different desires. So what is the main difference between this learned person and ignorant person? They have different desires. So one person is attached and they are doing the activity for their own sense enjoyment. And the other person is detached from the results and they're doing the activities not for their own enjoyment, but they are offering the result to the Supreme Lord. And this is the difference in desire. So this is from here, again, from 3.25 onwards, Lord Shri Krishna is trying to explain this difference between Karma Yoga and Karma Kanda, 25 to 29. In these 4 verses, Lord Shri Krishna is explaining the difference. So attached person, the person who is doing Karma Kanda activity. Detached person is doing Karma Yoga activity. And the difference is they are having different desires. So let us read now this 27 to 29 together. Did we? Oh, no, sorry, 26 to 29. Or 26 is not done. Yeah. Na buddhi bhedam janayed adnyanam karma sanginam joshayat sarva karmani vidwan yukta samacharan. Sudharma Mataji, please go ahead, and then Vikas Prabhuji can do.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So as not to disturb the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So here, actually, this verse and 29th verse is very similar. So we will actually go ahead and read till 29, and then we'll come back and discuss these 4 verses. प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणे कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते. Yes, Vikas, please.
The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actually carried out by the 3 modes of the material nature. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's quite interesting verse. We will discuss this little further. Tattvavittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayo gunaguneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate. Yes, Neeraj Prabhuji, please go ahead. Parminder Prabhuji, you can put your hand down. Your hand is constantly up. Thank you.
One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between work in devotion and work for fruitive results. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Prakrutir guna sammudha sajjante guna karmasu tan krishna vido mandan krishna vinna vichalayet. Yeah, Tripti Mataji, please go ahead.
Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached, but the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge.
Yeah. So here in 25, Lord Shri Krishna has explained the difference between the attached and detached person. But in the society, we have some people who are attached, like almost everyone is attached, and very few who are detached. So this self-realized people, or those people who are advanced in their spiritual path, how they should behave with the people who are attached. So that is mentioned in verse number 26 and 29. What is said is that the detached person, how he should behave with the man in ignorance. So they should not agitate their mind attached to fruitive activities. They should not induce them to stop work. So we saw someone who may be very advanced, like Arjuna or Janak Maharaj. It was possible for them to stop the work, and they can also preach to others that, oh, you can also stop the work. But they should not do that, because they should understand that even though they are detached, these other people are in ignorance and they are still attached to the fruitive activities. So they should let them do the fruitive activities and not induce them to stop the work. And somehow or the other try to engage them in all activities for gradual Krishna consciousness. So slowly they will make further progress towards Krishna consciousness. But this doesn't mean if someone is ready to progress faster, then they have to still say that, okay, don't give up your material activities. You continue doing that for your fruitive results. No, if someone is ready to make faster progress in Krishna consciousness, then they can actually give that path to them. For example, now sometimes some devotees, when they are coming to program, so some devotees actually start as soon as we say that, oh, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So as soon as we tell them to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they will immediately take up chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And some even start chanting 8 rounds, 10 rounds, 16 rounds as well, even from the first week. And they never give up after they start taking it, after they have taken it up. But there are some who will take a long time. They will chant 1 round for 1 year, 2 years, and then slowly they will make little progress. So we should not be discouraging them. We should actually, whatever progress that they want to make, we should let them make, and we should keep encouraging them to progress further and further. So that doesn't mean that a person who's ready to chant 16 rounds, we should say that, oh, no, go slow. No. If someone is ready to make some faster progress, we should actually allow them and we should encourage them to do faster progress. Just like in schools as well. If there are some students who are brilliant, then we are not pulling them behind just because there are other children in the school who are not they are average students or maybe below average students. So for them, we are not actually stopping the brilliant student. We can let them progress faster. So similarly, a detached person or a self-realized person should look at what is happening around him, and depending on how what is the situation of each individual, they should encourage them to make progress in their Krishna consciousness. And then in the purport of 27 and 28, Srila Prabhupada has given very good difference between this attached and detached worker. So we'll just quickly look at them. So what is their desire? So the attached worker is having the desire of sense gratification. That is why he is called attached. And the detached worker is looking for Krishna's satisfaction. He is offering the result to Krishna, and he is also doing the work for Krishna. What is the conviction of such people? The attached person is convinced by false ego that he is the doer of the activity. So this verse that we saw, Prakrute kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. So here it is, the person is thinking that everything I am doing, and there is no Supreme Lord anywhere. Everything is done by my own endeavor. So such person is convinced by their false ego. Because of their ego, they are thinking that I am the doer of the activity and the result is all dependent on my own endeavor only. But whereas a detached person is convinced of his awkward position in material association. What is this awkward position? The person understands that I am a spirit soul and I am trapped in this material body. And this matter and spirit, they are actually not like a normal and good combination. It is like oil and water. They never mix with each other. So the spirit soul is Satchidananda, but the matter is completely opposite. It is temporary. It doesn't have any knowledge, the matter, and it is not blissful as well. So there are so many issues that we have. So it is not proper. It is a proper combination. So So they are convinced that it is an awkward position, the detached person. So they do not have the false ego that I am the doer of the activity. What is the knowledge of their identity? So the attached person is thinking that I am this body, where the detached person is understanding that I am the spirit soul. Not only I am the spirit soul, I am the part and parcel of Krishna. What is their engagement? The attached person does not engage in service of Krishna, whereas the detached person engages in Krishna conscious activities. And what is the final consequence of the attachment? The attachment leads to forgetfulness of Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are focusing on ourselves. We are continuing to do no sacrifice. So we are just continuing to do our own sense enjoyment. So slowly, we forget about the Supreme Lord. Whereas the detached worker, the consequence is that he will be free from all kinds of material reactions, and then finally he will receive the mercy of the Lord, and he will go back to Godhead. So it is Lord Krishna's instruction for all of us that we have the free will to have the desires and use it to have desire to serve Lord Shri Krishna. So what it means is that only thing that is in our hand is our free will. And that using that free will, we can do desires. Now the desires can be of two types. Either we are serving ourselves or serving Maya, or we are serving Krishna. And everything else after that desire is done by the material nature. So this verse was explaining this. Prakrute kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The translation again was, the spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of the activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. So we are thinking that we are doing the activities, but actually that is not the truth. We can only have desires. Once we have some desire, then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is sitting in our heart as Paramatma, he will either allow it to happen or not allow it to happen, depending on our past destiny, past karma, and whatever reactions we have accumulated based on that. Based on that, he will allow or stop us. But once we have had this desire and the Supreme Lord has allowed to do it, then it is the Prakriti, the three modes of material nature, who's doing all of these activities. So someone will say that if the Prakriti is doing the activities, why I am getting the result or the reaction? If I do karma, then why I have to get the reaction of the karma? The karma should go to Prakriti. No. The reason is because the original desire was ours. If we did not have desire, the activity wouldn't have happened. So for example, if a child is trying to lift, a small child is trying to lift a box, which is a bit heavy, and he's trying to take a lot of effort, but it is still not happening. So the father may actually see that, oh, the child is trying to lift this box. So from behind, the father may come and help the child to lift the box. And the child may be thinking, hey, I lifted the box. But actually, it was lifted by the father. But the father wouldn't have lifted the box if he did not see the desire of the child. So similarly, the activity is happening because we have a particular desire to do. And that is why the action is happening, and that is why we get the karma. If we did not have desire, we wouldn't have the activity wouldn't have happened, and then the karma wouldn't have, the reaction wouldn't have come. So if we actually now understand that the only thing that we have in our hand is to have desires, then why not have desire to serve the Lord Krishna? Why should we have desire to serve Maya? So we should use our free will to have desires to serve the Supreme Lord. And then the Prakriti will help us to fulfill that desire. And that is how we will make progress in Krishna consciousness. So this desire to serve the Lord is properly explained in the next verse. It is very beautiful verse, 3.30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigatajvaraha. Yes, Pamindra Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Therefore, O Arjun, surrendering all your work onto me and with full knowledge to me, without desire for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from the lethargy, fight.
Yeah, so this verse actually completely refers to Bhakti Yoga. Lord Shri Krishna has said, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. So, O Arjuna, surrendering all your work unto me. He has specifically said unto me, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. So, all the result, all the work, you should offer it to me. Specifically and clearly said. He's not saying that give it to someone else or give it to some devata or here, there, everywhere. No, he's clearly saying what to do. And then he's saying sannyasi adhyatma chetasa. So our consciousness, we should be actually in full knowledge of the Supreme Lord. And then without desire for profit. Nirashir. Nirashir. So without desire for profit. And nirmamo. Nirmamo means with no claim of proprietorship. And then in the end it is said vigata jwaraha. Vigata jwara means like having fever. When we have fever, we have this lethargy of not doing any work. So similarly, it is said that vigata jwaraha means without such a lethargy, we should do and fight. So these are few things which are mentioned in this one verse. So Lord Shri Krishna is recommending to work exclusively for him. And we should set a proper example for others to follow so that others can also do the same. And what he has mentioned, surrendering all our work, we should surrender to him. And then without profit, without desire for profit and without claims to proprietorship. Generally, these two comes from mode of passion. I want to enjoy something. So that is, I want some profit. Or even if I'm not getting any profit, I want to claim that I have done this. I'm the proprietor of this thing. So anything that is happening is actually because of me. That actually comes from mode of passion. So Lord Shri Krishna is saying that give up this mode of passion. And lethargy comes from mode of ignorance. So he's saying that give up this mode of ignorance as well. So be free from these three things, nirashir, nirmamo, and vigata jwaraha. And with full knowledge of me, knowledge comes from mode of goodness. So he's saying give up mode of passion and ignorance, and in mode of goodness, you should do your work. If you do your work in mode of goodness, that is in karma yoga. It is nishkam karma yoga. But when Krishna says Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa, that means surrendering all your work unto me, then it becomes Bhakti Yoga. So Lord Shri Krishna is actually asking all of us, what is his recommendation? An instruction for us? It is his instruction that all of us follow the path of Bhakti by offering all our work to him. And specifically said to Lord Shri Krishna. So we have to do Bhakti for Lord Shri Krishna. And that is the right way of progressing in our spiritual life. If we do like this, then we will further progress. Okay. So just one more minute. I'll cover two more verses in 1 minute. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto anasuyanto muccante tepi karmabhi ye twetad abhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvanyana vimudastvan vidhi nashtana chetasaha. Yeah, Sanyas Prabhuji, can you read 31 and 32 translations both, please?
Yes, Guruji. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunction and who follow these teachings faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of relative actions. 32. But those who, out of envy, disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befolded and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. Thank you.
So in 31 and 32, Lord Shri Krishna is mentioned how we should do bhakti. So the formula is given in these two verses. So what we have to do? We have to do it with Shraddha, with faith we have to do. And we have to have no envy. So without envy and with faith, we should do this. And if we do like this, what is the result? We will get freedom from all the karmic bondage. We will not have any sinful reactions that we are accumulating. Actually, we will not have any reactions accumulated, good or bad reactions, because even good reactions are bad, because even by doing good activities, we have to actually take the birth again to enjoy the good results. But if you want to actually go out of this material world and spiritual world, we want to have our karma balance zero. We have to bring it to zero. And this is what Lord Shri Krishna is going to give us. That if we actually follow the path of Bhakti Yoga with faith and without envy, then we'll become free from the bondage. And if we are disobedient, then what will happen? Which is mentioned in verse number 32, that if this such person is considered bereft of knowledge and he's befooled, he is actually bewitched by Maya, and we are thinking that okay, in Maya, in this material world, we will somehow or the other find some enjoyment this way or that way. So we are befooled by such Maya, and all the endeavors will be ruined, and we will not be able to get perfection. So that is what Lord Shri Krishna has mentioned today. So who wants to summarize? Are there any questions or comments? On these 16 verses that we saw? Yes, Sanyas Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhuji, this point which you clearly mentioned today on 30th sloka, it's really, really interesting, Prabhuji. I didn't realize this point at all, and which is very eye-opening. And then here, the main thing what I liked it at the end, free from lethargy and fight. So that point I really liked it deeply, because sometimes we become lethargy in our sadhana. So as we remember the sloka, how can we come out of the lethargy and how can we continue our sadhana of fighting with Maya? And this sloka really mentioned that's really, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Very nice. Okay. Any other comments or any other points that you understood today? Yes, Maminder Prabhuji. I can't hear you, Prabhuji. Suddenly.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, now I can hear.
Prabhuji, whenever it's mentioned activities, it's like prescribed activities, like when there?
In which context? That we have to do all activities in service of Krishna? There?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
and like even for the Karam Kandi as well, when it's mentioned activities. So it's like going to mode of goodness activities.
Yeah. So any activity that we are trying to do, then those activities we can try to connect to Krishna. But of course, if someone is trying to kill someone, we cannot say that, oh, I'm killing someone and I can connect that to Krishna. So those activities will be mode of ignorance. But mode of passion and mode of goodness activities can be somehow or the other connected to Krishna by removing that that attachment that we have for the result. And how we can do? If we are too much in mode of passion, we are trying to actually do everything for our own enjoyment. At least some portion of that we can offer to Krishna, and that way we can start. And if we are already in goodness and we do not have such attachment, then we can even do activities in Krishna consciousness directly. So that is how it is possible.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah. Raghavendra Prabhuji?
So Hare Krishna Prabhu, so my realization today is even God is conscious to do his duty well. I didn't realize that. So you just be careful that people will follow him, and yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a chapter that how he performs, like what time he wakes up, what he does after that, and then how he goes to work, and then how he comes back and spends time with the with his children and family, and then what times he sleeps, all of that. So using that schedule as well, so that is the schedule the ISKCON temples follow. So when they do this arti at this time, in the morning arti, Mangal arti, then offering bhoga, in like the breakfast bhoga, then lunch, then dinner, like that. All of that is actually based on the schedule which is given. So he's actually perfectly following that schedule. So that is why it is mentioned that he is doing all of that so to set a good example for in front of everyone, and he is going to office every day. Yeah. Surananda Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just on that note, like especially as a parent, so many times I've seen that people think that okay, my kids has to be following the good behavior, good qualities, but we are not. So I mean, we are not setting that example. But yeah, I will take that point, Prabhuji. So I have to follow first. Automatically, by seeing me, my kids will follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Good Prabhuji. Sudharma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. This one is what's basically very catchy for me in this session, Prabhuji. How the difference between how a detached man relates to a man in ignorance. It's very nicely explained, like you shouldn't be agitating their mind or make them go away, and rather induce them, not to induce them to stop the work and slowly engage them in the activities of Krishna consciousness. So
Yeah,
this is
at
very
their pace. So the main point is we should engage them at their pace.
Mhm.
So if their pace is faster, we should not slow them down. If they are fast, then let them go very fast. But if they are slow, then don't push them so hard that they will think that it is not possible for me and they will give it up.
Yeah.
So this
Thank
is the key point. At their pace, we should engage them.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Tripti Mataji, you also raised your hand in between.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you? Yeah. No, I'm just doing self-reflection while we are talking about this, and I see there is a long way for me to go. There's a lot of realization which is happening, but it's a tough path. It's not easy.
No, it is easy path. Actually, there is a long way to go for every one of us. But the why it is easy is because we don't have to actually look at that how much what distance we have to cover. What we have to look at is which direction we are going. So as long as we are going in the right direction, even one step we take towards that direction is a progress. And we should just focus on that one step. We have to take our baby steps. But as long as we are taking the baby step in the right direction, that's a progress. So we should not be worried about how far away we are from the goal. Because the process of bhakti itself is not only dependent on our endeavors. The process of bhakti depends on endeavor and mercy both. So as long as you are taking the endeavor to go towards the right direction, mercy will come. And it is mentioned that if you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna will take 10 steps towards you. And your steps will be maybe small, but Krishna's 10 steps will be very, very big. So you don't have to think about, oh, there is a long distance. See, if Krishna decides that he wants to cover that distance, he can come quickly. But we have to actually have to be going towards Krishna and making sincere effort to go towards him. And that is the only thing that is required. So that is why the process of bhakti is the simplest. It is not dependent on our endeavors only. It is dependent on endeavor and mercy both. And this is the beauty of the process of bhakti. If we make our endeavor, little endeavor, then the Lord is going to help us to reach that goal very quickly. So that is why it is considered the easiest process. The only thing that we require is the desire, our desire to go towards Krishna. As long as our direction it changed from we are going towards Maya, if we change the direction and start going towards Krishna, that is it. That is the only endeavor that is required from our end. Is that making sense?
It is making sense. It's I think there are follow-up questions, but I don't want to take everyone's time. Yeah, there's a lot of
Okay,
yeah,
we can catch up sometime.
yeah.
We will stop here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.